Hello and welcome to the Gaming Perspective, episode 9. I'm going to say welcome to another episode. It's been a little while, so a little bit of changes. We're now doing the episodes on Fridays because it gives us a little bit more wiggle room. And to be brutally honest, a lot of the news that we cover when we were uploading on Mondays had already been talked to death over the weekend by other shows and everything else. So by uploading on a Friday, I kind of feel like we get a good breadth of news to talk about that's still fairly fresh. We're recording this on Thursday, which went from being a day where I woke up and went, there's nothing exciting going on today, to being, holy shit, what happened? So there's so much stuff that happened today, we can't even go over all of it. So yeah, we'll do quick introductions, brief what we've been playing. We'll jump right into it. So joining me as always, Mr. Samuel Tolbert.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
And also joining me is Jared.
Hey.
A little what's happening.
I'm going to use that and next time I'm on another podcast now. Hey. And also introducing Mr. Eric Jackson.
What's up, Jive Turkeys? We'll keep that whole 70s theme rolling.
Jive Turkeys. Oh no. I'm 26 years old. I'm embarrassed I know that word. All right. So, as always, we always ask every week what you guys have been playing. So, Sam, what have you been playing?
Ostensibly video games. However,
God, here we go.
Really, I've been playing a lot of D&D lately. Actually, I've been having a blast playing D&D with Ivan and Jared and the other crew that we've got. It's really good. It's really good. But in the land of video games, honestly, guys, I have been so busy with work. I haven't really had a chance to play much. A couple of matches of Gears 5 here and there. A little bit of Fire Emblem Three Houses, continuing to peck away at that, and then Total War Warhammer 2. That's really, that game in particular has been my go-to over the last week because it's just like, okay, pull up a tab, I can play this for 20, 15 minutes, whatever. Oh, article time. Okay, I got to go back to writing. So that's mostly what I've been up to. I'm hoping this weekend to finally get to relax and maybe dive in really, really hard on the Outer Worlds. And maybe Borderlands 3, if a couple of you are up for it.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say right now with the current games they're pre-installing on my console, likelihood of me picking up Borderlands 3 this weekend, very, very slightly. But if you guys do hit it up, do hit me up, and I'll and Han probably do it anyways. It's Sam talks about how busy he's been. It's been a really crazy news week, and this is just one of those weeks where I really appreciate the fact that I'm currently unemployed in games writing. I just sit there and I'm watching my Twitter blow up with all these different things that are happening, and I just sit there and go, it's not my job. It's a great feeling sometimes. But I'm starting to get that itch again, so we'll see how long that lasts before I'm back doing something. Jared, what have you been up to?
Oh, honestly, I've really only been playing Destiny 2. That's about it. That's really the only significant thing. And I guess a little bit of World of Warcraft Classic as well. I restarted up a priest and been enjoying leveling up a new class, so that's been good. Other than that, really, not really a whole lot.
This man's still playing Blizzard games in 2019.
I don't think I'll ever stop. The game
awesome. And like I said, all the people that are stalwart in their hatred of Blizzard, I want to see that energy after Diablo 4 is revealed.
Right?
You cannot count on gamers to keep energy, man.
Oh, man. It's really easy for people to be like, man, fuck Blizzard, when Blizzard hasn't released a game basically since Overwatch.
Yeah.
See. Here's the thing. Let's see if people hold their ethics and morals, and good on them if they do, after what's going to be announced at BlizzCon. Because word on the wind is that there's some big stuff coming this year.
I want my StarCraft MMO, you sons of bitches. Hurry the hell up. I'm so disappointed. I've been disappointed over the years. I've been such a big World of Warcraft fan. I've been needing that StarCraft version my whole life. It's never coming.
They're there.
I'm sad.
They're there.
I'm
Don't
sad.
worry. I will Baldur's Gate 3 into existence. Maybe I'll think about willing what you want into existence.
Maybe I can bug Mike Ybarra now about it.
Hey, we're gonna talk about that, don't you worry. Eric, what have you been playing?
Well, I'm sitting here thinking, and Sam reminded me, yes, I do have Fire Emblem to still play, and Jared reminded me that Destiny 2 is still out there, and there's just no time for anything. But I did play through in Platinum, like Concrete Genie. I was trying to play there for a minute. And outside of that, just Borderlands 3. I'm trying to actually finish that off before I jump into the Outer Worlds. So,
right on.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just that thing where it's like I definitely try to finish a game before I start another one, because if not, then you go back to it later and you're like, what the hell was I doing? I don't remember where I was, So,
See,
yeah.
I've like as people know, I've kind of dialed back my content creation and everything else. I've been doing me, as the kids would say, which I think there's a masturbation joke in there, but we're not going to make it. It's a little bit of a reach. But the thing is I've really been actually able to keep up with the games I've been playing, and it's kind of been great. Like Concrete Genie came out. I played that. I platinumed that. Have some really minor complaints, but really enjoyed the type of game it was. It felt like, and Eric can correct me if I'm wrong, it felt like a PS3 game, but in the best way possible.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't make games like that anymore. I can't compare it to anything. I want to compare it to Sly Cooper, but it's not anywhere close to Sly Cooper. But it's that style of game.
It's kind of reminiscent of that. And I think I said in the DMs, and Sam, you probably remember, I said it kind of feels like something that would have been made by. Why am I drawing? I'm drawing blanks tonight. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a long day.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
Who's the developer I'm thinking of, Sam? I just said it the other day.
Did you mean to say Double Fine?
Double Fine. Yes, Double Fine. Yes. Good Lord, I sound like a gamer right now. And they're one of my favorite devs. But yeah, it feels like something that Double Fine would have made, like Nick said, like in the PS3, Xbox 360 era. And that's a compliment, because they've made some pretty good games at that point. So, yeah, I would agree.
I don't know. I'm kind of a sucker for those kind of games, though, because like everyone made fun of it, and it's kind of a meme. But I really enjoyed Crackdown 3 because no one made like mindless, stupid open world games anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really enjoyed that for what it was. I enjoyed Concrete Genie for what it was. And of course, all I've been playing this week basically is Baldur's Gate 2. Actually, it's not even Baldur's Gate. I'm not even playing Baldur's Gate 2. I actually decided to, since it comes as a bundle pack, I actually played the original Baldur's Gate for the first time. I've actually never played the original. I've only ever played 2. So I started with the original, and holy crap, I forgot how hard that game was. I was like, I played this game all the time growing up. I'll put it on hard. I'll be fine. Getting like one hit killed by everything. I'm like, whew, okay. Gotta dial this back a bit. But man, really have an appreciation. Our discussion topic's based around, so I'm not gonna go too in depth, but really enjoying my time with that game again. Just a little thing to Beamdog, who published it and everything else. If you would make a game collection with 171 achievements and 100 plus of them are secret achievements, you're a sadistic person. You're the worst kind of people. Because I'm sitting there like, there's no guide for this. I gotta figure this all out. So like, I'm literally talking to every person on screen. I'm like, do you have an achievement tied to you? Do you have a quest I can do?
The brute force method, right?
like literally, like my adventurer basically kicks in the door and is like, who's got quests that might be tied to a 10 gamer score achievement? Because I really want to. It's a really big grind to do it. But I really want 100% all those games. But I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it in my lifetime or what. But we'll see. So, speaking of great games that people are looking forward to playing, by the time this podcast goes live, this game will be live for pretty much everyone around the world, whether you play it on Xbox, PC, or PlayStation. Outer Worlds. So, typically we don't talk about reviews on here because I'm not a huge proprietor of Metacritic and all that kind of crap. But I want to mention Outer Worlds because this is validation for me, I'm going to say, because I've been preaching the good word of Obsidian for years and preached on this podcast. I was one of the first people saying that Microsoft should buy them. I was one of the first people that said Microsoft was going to buy them. And people told me it was a bad investment. If they can't produce games and keep themselves afloat on the games they're making, then they can't be that good of a developer. But I'm going to just sit back and sip this iced tea because I'm right and you're wrong. So reviews are in. Reviews are great for Outer Worlds. A lot of people are comparing it in terms to older BioWare-style RPGs and the older Fallout games. Are you guys excited for Outer Worlds?
Absolutely.
I actually am, and I say that as somebody who's not really into Fallout.
Man, Eric cannot wait to swing that space butter knife.
Well, you know what, Eric? I think you're in luck because, like, it's, of course, a very space-like Fallout game, but it's not Fallout.
Right.
It has all the good stuff about Fallout, but still not Fallout. So I think this is going to be definitely right up your alley.
Well, there have been some like buzzwords flying around from people like Jez, where it's like Firefly, Cowboy Bebop, Space Cowboys.
Basically, a bunch of good things.
all the good stuff. Yeah, all the stuff that you kind of love. So, and then I heard Mass Effect kind of being thrown in there, and then from day one when we first heard this game, or when Obsidian was talking about it, and what was the thing that they said? This isn't some major open world 80 to 100 hour game. It's going to be a little bit more linear, a little bit more concise, about 30 hours or so. I was like, sold.
Yep.
That sounds like music to my ears these days.
Yeah. Plus with replayability as well.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. In the more recent interview, that's what they said. It's like built for replayability, to jump back in, jump on another character type and keep going. Yeah.
And I was talking with Jez Gordon, my Xbox editor, and then Jennifer Locke, who's actually my PlayStation editor, because they both have early copies of the game, and they were explaining, like, it's this super capitalist hellscape. I mean, there's literally a sign early on in the game that says, remember, only you can help fourth quarter profits and stuff like that, that kind of humor in the game. So you can choose to be the savior of the oppressed, helping the downtrodden, helping the poor, or you can just be a colossal jerk and take money to go help oppress the poor and kick them around even further. And I like that. I like having actual evil options in the game. Let people do what they want. And I think as well, Eric, that the idea of a shorter game, people are going to be more willing to experiment. It's not, oh no, I screwed up the golden ending, because I didn't do one thing right in 80 hours. It's like, no, it's okay. It's all right. Just play it again. It's not that big of a deal.
Absolutely.
Let me put it this way. Typically when I play an RPG, I'm going to say a neutral to good character alignment. Typically.
Mm-hmm.
But Obsidian with Fallout New Vegas was the first game where I had a lot of fun being an absolute asshole. Like, literally made children cry, and I was like, this game's great. I know someone's gonna clip that and make me sound like an absolute asshole, but honestly, Obsidian's writing, the thing is naturally as people, we want to do the best thing. Like, how many of you guys, when you played Skyrim or anything else, basically followed the law and were decent through your serious playthroughs? I'm not talking saving your game and slaying a village and then reloading your save. I'm saying, like, actually being evil through a full character playthrough.
First time playthroughs, almost always I take the good option.
Yeah,
almost always.
Same here.
And then I do the evil options on the second playthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually.
See, for me, in Fallout New Vegas, Obsidian almost poked you to want to be bad. They're like, the Legion's kind of cool. Come on.
Ave, true to Caesar.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Or dude, you know what I'm talking about, the infamous joke where you can pull the guard's grenade pin and plant it back in his pocket. It just vaporizes.
Placing plasma mines in people's pockets and then watching them scream and try to run away. Hilarious. Once again, I'm a sick man. I need help.
It's okay. It's all right. Yeah, I'm very. I'll say this as well. I'm very happy for Obsidian. I really am happy that this has turned out so well. And another thing to keep in mind: this game was made on a smaller budget. The maximum amount of funding that Private Division, Take-Two's, AA game funder publishing branch, does is $20 million. That's the max, according to their contracts. So imagine what Obsidian's next game is going to look like if they were able to do this on basically a shoestring and green beans budget.
Oh, baby.
I think the future for them as part of Xbox is pretty bright.
Absolutely. Agree.
All right, and now to move on to something that's kind of like Outer Worlds, but a lot more disappointing for me. Fallout 76. I like Fallout 76. I was one of the few people that enjoyed it since it launched. But I'm seriously having a hard time with Bethesda's thought pattern right now. So, yesterday, Bethesda announced Fallout First, which is a $100 for a year or a $12.99 monthly subscription service, which gives you access to, I put in the largest quotations, premium features. And Bethesda is calling it a membership and not a subscription. Offers something players have been asking for since before launch: private worlds for you and your select friends. There's a scrap box storage container for holding unlimited amounts of material. You get a monthly deposit of in-game currency, exclusive outfits, and other cosmetics, and a new fast travel option.
Doesn't sound like enough for what they're charging, in my opinion.
Well, and contrast is important. And like Apple Arcade's $4.99, Xbox Game Pass with like Gears 5, Sea of Thieves, State of Decay 2, and everything else is $9.99. And they're coming out swinging with a $12.99 monthly subscription. So I don't like the price point. And I'm just going to say my piece and I'll let everyone go. The thing that pisses me off about this is stuff they had promised prior to launch to the players. They never said they were charging us for it. We asked for private worlds, and they said, we're working on bringing you guys private worlds, and now they paywalled it. People asked if we could, about scrapbox storage containers for unlimited materials, and they said it physically was not possible for them to increase the storage container limits because it crashes the server. But they somehow managed to make it work for a premium.
I do want to just point out on that front, not to say your point is wrong, but it's just crafting items. It's not full storage. I'm just saying that is an important distinction.
Scrapbox. Keyword scrapbox. The Atoms in-game currency is actually proportionate to the value. I think that's actually a good part of it. But really and truly, it's not great. And then add into the fact that the poor people that actually bought this, someone actually bought the Fallout First subscription, put all their scrap in the scrap box, and it was deleted. They lost all their scrap that they'd been hoarding for months. So there's bugs to go along with this. And look, I made several points of saying that people that paid full price for Fallout 76 did not beta test this game. Didn't pay full price to beta test this game. It was a full game and everything else. And now a year later, they're trying to charge people $12.99 on a subscription fee on top of the fact this is a $60 game. If they had said Fallout 76 is going free to play, here's our subscription model, I wouldn't even bat an eye. but it's the fact that this is still a $60 video game and you're paywalling stuff you promised people. There's really no excuse for this. Any thoughts?
You summed it up pretty damn well. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Sam?
I would.
I feel
I
like
was just thinking, and I was taking a drink too. But if Eric wants to say something, he can go ahead.
No, I'll let you go. I'll let you go, Sam. Because I mean, and the reason I'm saying that is because like you and Nick, you guys are like you're Fallout guys, and I'm more, I fall in line more like with the outer periphery Bethesda stuff, like the software stuff. So
here's what I say. I think there is nuance to this discussion, and what frustrates me is that's not going to happen. People are just going to jump down their throats. But I want to be clear, that doesn't mean they don't deserve that. That doesn't mean they don't need to be criticized for this. I'm just saying there is a market for this. Other games do charge for private servers. Minecraft charges for private servers. Battlefield, more PC games than I can shake a stick at, charge for private servers. But that's not a new concept, and a lot of people are going to hate me for this. You should have never expected them to be free. That was always an unrealistic expectation on the community's part. I don't think Bethesda did anything wrong there. I don't. That's me. On top of that, again, the amount of atoms they're giving you, they're basically giving you what, Nick, $15, $16 in microtransaction cash every month?
Yes, because how it works out is you get about, I think someone tallied it up, you get about $150 worth of microtransaction currency for the $99 membership.
Okay, exactly. So, like, if you're going to buy the microtransactions, just do that instead. Honestly, it's not like at that discount rate. It's much, much better. It's much, much more worth it to do it that way. So I think that's good. My issue comes in on the storage part. That's my issue for this, is that was the most requested feature, even above private worlds. It's, hey, please, we need to be able to store our junk. Hey, please, we need to be able to store our junk. Let craft with it. And then to hear that there's a glitch in it, possibly on top of that, that's inexcusable to me. That should have been available to everyone, and in exchange for that, I think drop the price down on the subscription. If they had done that and they had been better about the messaging, I think this would be more palatable. But as it is, they're going to get roasted alive, and that's what their messaging has wrought. So,
I will say this too, and to Sam's point of private worlds, if they had said they were going to make private servers, then people expecting it to be free is a little stupid. But they never said anything about servers. They said private worlds. The assumption that everyone went through and that they never corrected was that you were going to be able to play Fallout 76 offline. You could just play a world by yourself. That was the requested feature. People didn't really care. It's easy enough to join a server with a bunch of your friends and you don't have to take it over because PvP is optional. It's really easy. The private servers are redundant. What people wanted was being able to have a world to themselves that they could create and play in on their own. And the whole how the private servers work is whoever has the subscription has to be online for that to work. If it's not the person that has the subscription, you can't access that world. So if I have the subscription and Sam, Jared, and Eric want to play on my server, I have to be online and playing for them to use it.
And that's another side of things. If that's the case, like, that shouldn't be the case. You should be able to say, hey, I'm authorizing this person to play in the world. Like, I'm gifting it to you should be able to manually select and do that. I don't disagree that there's issues like that.
Because, like, I don't know, because I don't use Minecraft, but I'm pretty sure with their private servers, all you need is a login to log into the private server. I'm pretty sure that's all you need. I
don't play Minecraft, but I think you're correct. If someone does, they're free to correct us.
Yeah, like, if I'm wrong, please just throw it in the comments, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But it's stupid, and I can't believe they're doubling down on this. And if they make Fallout 76 free to play a month or two from now, then the membership makes sense. But, like, for me, it's like you're charging people $60 to play the game. They've got to pay for their Xbox Live. That's another $60. Like, you can't nickel it. Like, even in a PC market, I could kind of see it. But trying to milk subscription, like, numbers out of console players. I don't know, man. It leaves a really bad taste in my mouth, and this isn't the Bethesda I knew. And like, I need really, as Eric always brings it up too, it's a great point. I'm not talking about Bethesda published. I'm talking about Bethesda proper. Mm-hmm. I have no criticism of Bethesda published at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
But Bethesda proper needs to get their shit together.
Well, I think for the first time too, you saw like, you know, usually you could set your watch to the Bethesda published stuff, like as it was usually going to run well, it was usually going to be a good time, no issues there, right? When you talk about your Wolfensteins and you talk about your Dishonors and stuff like that, and it's weird that you saw like with, you know, Youngbloods was like kind of like the first time in a long time that it was like a bit of a chink in that armor. It was like wait, you know, it was very polarizing, right? So I know like we always go back and forth and we goof and we joke, like, you know, I like to mess with you guys is, you know, with the Bethesda thing, and I want to kind of be careful about how I'm critical of it because I don't play the games like that. I don't play Fallout 76, so I don't really know everything that's going on. I listen to what you guys say, but I think this sounds a bit tone deaf on Bethesda's part. Like, you've had a rocky road with this game, and here you are now, like Nick said, you're doubling down on the craziness. And it might be a little bit of a symptom of, you know, they rode so high for so long, and, you know, the fan service that they did kind of got them like a little bit more of a pass in some of the hiccups and the jankiness that they would have in some of the games, some of the things that they would, you know, pull, right? But what I'm starting to kind of see is more and more people are becoming more vocal with like, no, you guys haven't been providing a level of, you know, quality to keep pulling this kind of stuff.
Right. And on top of that, building on top of that, Eric, it's like, why would you do this when just now public opinion is finally starting to turn around? People really liked what they announced at E3. The Wastelanders update, you know, this bringing the NPCs, bringing the older classic dialogue trees, not the limited little button conversations that were in Fallout 4, like that kind of stuff. People are actually interested. So why are you dropping this at a time like that?
Right.
That's weird. So, like, you could have at least waited until that was out.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, even if I understand what they were trying to do, the messaging is just, the messaging is.
Right. And something I kind of want to highlight is we go like hard on like the Microsofts of you know, and the Sonys as far as like, are they becoming complacent? Are they becoming arrogant or whatever? But we don't always hold like developers accountable. Right. The same way, you know, because typically they give us, you know, we're very hard on the hardware makers, right? In the publishing first party lines along that stuff, right? But most of the outside, you know, the multi-plat, you know, developers, the third party developers, whatever, that make the games that we love, it's typical and it's kind of par for the course to give them a little bit of a pass, right? We all have our ones that were like, you know, we can talk trash, but don't you talk trash about them. Yeah, you know, that kind of thing, right?
I hear you.
So so it's sort of like, have they gotten a little bit, you know, a little bit arrogant, a little bit complacent, kind of like I hear Jez say, like with Blizzard, it's like, what the hell? They used to be all about fan service, and now they're just dumping on everybody.
Like, well, Blizzard's is on another level altogether.
No. I'm not even.
But you're right.
You're
right. It's Blizzard, Bethesda, and even Ubisoft, I think.
Yeah. Like,
has just kind of stepped it. EA goes without saying. Like, EA and Activision, that just goes without saying.
But Ubisoft, think about Ubisoft. Like, it's good that you threw them in there. They had a point where they were getting a little shaky, and then all of a sudden they turned it around. And they became like, because remember before, again, they were a developer for a long time, last generation, you could set your watch to as far as like quality. And then all of a sudden they got a little bit weird, like around, you know, Assassin's Creed, Unity.
Yep. Unity, Watch Dogs,
right.
And the Crew.
And they started hearing it, and it's like all of a sudden they kind of fixed it, right? And they garner like all this great goodwill with, you know, with good Lord. We have to stop doing these podcasts when I've been up since like 4 a.m. Okay.
Rainbow Six Siege?
Rainbow Six Siege, yes. It was like right there, Sam. I swear to God. Okay. I'm bringing the quality of the podcast down, Nick. I'm sorry. No, because with Rainbow Six Siege, it was looking a little bit spooky when it first launched, right? It was like, what's going on with Ubi? But then all of a sudden they turned that around. But it's sort of like that same thing. It's like, the goodwill that you build, you can start to tarnish it and start to go left on it. And I kind of think Bethesda's finding themselves in that position, but they don't seem to be listening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
It's odd.
We'll segue. We're going to bump a topic around because you brought up Ubisoft. So today was one hell of a day for Ubisoft. So they had an earnings call today, and we learned that 3 games are getting delayed. Watch Dogs Legion, Rainbow Six Outbreak. Is that what it's called? No.
Quarantine.
Quarantine. Thank you. It was some form of zombie thing.
Yeah.
And what was the third game? God damn, me and Eric are like...
Gods and Monsters.
And once you get stuck to, you're like, oh God, I sound stupid. I sound stupid. And then you can't think of it anymore.
It's all right. Jared and I will get stupid later, and you two will save us. That's how it works.
Absolutely. That's exactly how it works. We take turns.
So, Gods and Monsters, which, okay, I'm gonna say this. Out of those 3 games, the only one I actually expected up until a few weeks ago to hit was Watch Dogs, because that game looked fairly polished at E3. I did not think they were going to turn around. Gods and Monsters was going to launch less than a year after being revealed at E3. Mm. That is not Ubisoft's MO at all, especially with new IP. And Rainbow Six, I really like the Rainbow Six game. I was kind of like, you guys really going to launch a service game like 4 or 5 months before new consoles come out? Really kind of doubt it. So those games got put further in, are going to be in the oven a little bit longer, which means the quality is probably going to be better, which is good because Ubisoft is apparently not too happy with the success of their games this year. Apparently Ghost Recon Breakpoint has been a massive disappointment, which anyone who follows the discourse around that game is there's very few people that like that game right now, which based on the fact of the success of Wildlands is heartbreaking. And you think about the pedigree that Ghost Recon, the name of that game, has brought over the years. It sucks that it's at that point where it's a broken, conjumbled mess and absolutely overfilled. It, like, as it was put to me by someone, as one of my friends who bought it, he said that the only thing that works flawlessly in that game is the microtransaction store.
Ow.
And to quote the VG247 review of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, is as per Kirk McCann said, I would rather play Anthem, and then I'd rather stick my head through a glass window than play Anthem. So there you go. It's not received well. Apparently the Division 2 underperformed to what they expected it to do. I don't know what they thought it was going to do. I thought it did fairly well, but I don't know what their internal speculations was. But to add insult to all this injury, Ubisoft stocks took a massive 11% drop today.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Which is one of the largest drops that I can remember in a video game company's share in a long time. And if I'm being brutally honest, I'm surprised this didn't happen sooner. Because Ubisoft's kind of formulated all their games into one kind of style. Yeah. They do 80 to 100 hour open world games. Everything's 80 to 100 hour open world games. Ghost Recon Wildlands, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. There's more. I guess Assassin's Creed Origins will be another one. And it's kind of like eventually people are going to get tired of that. And you can't just plug out games like I could have waited till next gen for another Ghost Recon game. Wildlands is still fresh enough where I'm like, don't need another one for a bit.
It's that, going to the well, that going to the well and that becoming complacent and being tone deaf when and being dicks about it, people want Splinter Cell.
Well,
like it's just not funny at this point. I don't want to hear it. It stopped being funny years ago.
Right.
The part that pissed me off was there was an interview with Yves Guillemot. Am I pronouncing his name right?
Guillemot, I believe.
Guillemot. There was a interview with him where someone said, we really miss the 20 to 30 hour Ubisoft experiences of prior generations. Do you guys have any plans on going back to that with some of your games? And he actually laughed.
Yep.
And said, no, that is not our future. And I'm like, well, okay. I don't know. There is nothing that turns me off of a game more than when you're like, it's an 100-hour open world experience. I'm like, yeah, fuck, I'm out. Like, the days of that being a novelty are gone. There's too many games that play into that. I think Ubisoft has just hit that pitfall. I think that I don't think them delaying games is a bad thing, but I think they have a problem with that they're just recycling too much of the same stuff right now.
Yeah, and I think that's a big problem for them.
And I think it's going to bite them in the arse more if they don't do something about it. I think their main priority right now should be goddamn fixing Ghost Recon. Because like I don't pay attention to like YouTuber gamer outrage and everything else, but I have friends that are pissed with that game. Like there's bugs that are happening in that game that didn't happen in Fallout 76.
Like, dude, I mean, I don't want to make the definitive comparison, but people are talking about the content in Anthem, but Division 2. I mean, it hasn't really been popping. I mean, for how hype people were.
Well, see, and like the Division 2 nailed the base game, but their post-launch content has been, I'm not going to say abysmal because they have been supporting it, but it hasn't drawn people in.
Yeah. And they had the same problem with the Division 1.
Yeah. And I'll even go as far as say this. And this is me giving Anthem credit. So Jared gets to have a little high five for himself over here. At least when Anthem launched, it respected its players' time and it worked for the most part.
For the most part. Honestly, the only way the Anthem truly faltered was on their end game. That's the only reason it failed so miserably is because there's nothing to do once you beat the campaign, and there's still nothing to do.
Right.
It's like if you took Anthem and you took the looter shooter elements out of it and just made it a linear RPG style game, you wouldn't have had to worry about end game, and people would have probably loved it as a 40-hour BioWare experience.
Yep.
And now with Ghost Recon Breakpoint, they basically took Wildlands. It was like, which has been like the most successful Ghost Recon game. And they went, we're not going to do anything the same. Anything we did in that game, we're not doing it. And it's like, oh, okay, that's a choice. And like, I don't want to see Ubisoft tank out. I don't want to see any of these video game companies tank out. But there is lessons to be learned. And this whole thing of it becoming cool for developers to like own the gamers on social media and whatnot, it's not a good look. And like the people that are writing articles and doing videos where they're like, developers shouldn't listen to their communities, you're a fucking moron. Because if people don't buy your game could be the best game ever. If nobody's playing it, it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it goes back to the old adage, if a tree falls in the woods.
Well, and like, it just pisses me off because yes, there are loud vocal people who don't buy your game. They're going to talk a momentous amount of crap about your game. Those are the people you ignore. But when you have forums full of issues and everything else, you're like, it's just whiny, entitled gamers, that pisses me off. If I spent $60 on your product needs to deliver. And Ubisoft this year just hasn't been delivering. And it is what it is. But on the flip side of this, a developer that typically delivers had a little bit of a weird thing. So, Sam, I'm going to let you explain this delay for a game that we just got a date for.
Yeah, okay. So buckle up, folks. This one gets a little weird, even if you already know what I'm referring to. Very recently, last couple of weeks, late September, I think it was the 28th, if I remember correctly, The Last of Us Part 2 had a big media event. You know, they showed a new trailer, showed some new snippets of gameplay. Press got to play about 3 hours, 2.5 hours hands-on previews, release date of February 21, 2020. Good times. Good times were had by all. Then, very, very recently, over the last couple of days, a rumor came up from Daniel Ahmad, an analyst at Nico Partners, great guy for NPD stuff. He said that we were going to have some unexpected news about a Sony first-party game. That sent the internet into a tizzy. Then super reporter Jason Schreier of Kotaku did his thing, and this morning turned up the news that The Last of Us Part 2 was being delayed until sometime later in the spring. The people who didn't know better doubted him, and then a couple hours later, Neil Druckmann came out on PlayStation Blog and said, yes, it's true, we're delaying the game until May 29. This is the first time I can honestly think of that we've had a developer delay a game just a couple of weeks after being silent for over a year and giving the release date. I don't think that's ever happened before at all. And it's really, really weird. Any thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I can't recall it ever happening. And then, like I said, it's definitely weird.
You think they would have waited maybe a little longer to have more of a solidified date so they'd be more confident to go, yeah, we actually can. But maybe, you know, they were just under a lot of pressure from Sony to be like, guys, we need to say something like soon because people are getting antsy and they're starting to talk about it more and more recently. And it's like, oh, okay, quickly throw an event together and we'll say this date and yeah, we should be okay for this time. A couple weeks later, yeah, no, we're not good for this time. But you said no, we're not good. Ah, crap.
So there's a few things that are weird to me about this. First of all, delaying a game a month after you announce the release date is definitely unique. And without trying to put on my tinfoil hat, this delay coming after all the weird stuff that's been going on at Sony the past little while, them, announcing PS5 details and killing the marketing on Concrete Genie, Sean Layden departing, their Japanese branch leader leaving. There's just been really weird stuff. I don't want people to think I'm trying to spin this as doom and gloom, but this is not atypical Sony that we've had this whole generation. One thing Sony has consistently been great with is communicating with their fans, clear and concise PR, and they always have been great at marketing their games. And so far this year, they've botched all three of those categories. Am I saying that I doubt the confidence in PS5 or anything like that? No, that's taking it too far. But it's really interesting to me what's going on over there, and I would pay huge amounts of money to be a fly in the wall on some of these big management meetings. Because there's something going on. I don't know if everyone's just adjusting to new leadership and it's throwing some of their development into a bit of a spin. We've seen it happen. Microsoft had similar issues when they did a big reshuffle. It happens, but it's interesting.
Though I actually think that's. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you up. I was actually thinking the same thing. I was thinking that might be a part of it. Like they're getting some ducks in a row. Like they definitely have some shakeups going on, and figuring out whose role is doing what, and it's causing some issues with the messaging.
Well, and that's the thing. Is like in terms of like why is this delayed or whatever. Layden was in charge of Worldwide Studios. We still don't have an announcement of who's taking over that role. So that role is vacant right now, or being handled by multiple managers who already have other responsibilities. So if Druckmann can't directly report to someone whose full-time job is to deal with them, that could cause issues down the line, and that could be why they need a month. of just being able to get the marketing moving, get everything polished up. And them saying they need more time to polish the game is the reason, then that's fine. Polish the game up. There's no doubt in my mind that there's no way that... Let me put it this way. If Naughty Dog was to release a broken game, the social media and fan backlash would be massive. Them delaying a game is basically their MO at this point. Like, this is really not... This is a month or two more, and Sam will correct me because I'm horrible with dates. But if I'm wrong, didn't Uncharted 4 get like a 3-week or 4-week delay closer to its launch?
Both Uncharted 4...
They got 2 delays, I think.
Yeah, Uncharted 4 got 2 delays, one after another. Sean Layden even talked... I believe it was Sean Layden even talked in... the book Blood, Sweat, and Pixels with Jason Schreier about how it was embarrassing almost having to go to Shuhei and say, look, sorry, but we got to convince corporate we need this extra time, and how Shuhei helped them give that push to say, not a problem, we'll give you all the time you need. But Uncharted 4 also got, The Last of Us back in 2013 also got a last minute push. It was supposed to come out on May 2013. It got pushed to June 2014. And Eric, I found the interview I was talking in our DMs about, and Druckmann and Bruce Straley have both the game's co-creative directors for the original title. Bruce Straley has also, I can't even talk, obviously left Naughty Dog at this point, so it's just Druckmann. But they said at the time that delay was critical because there were serious things with the AI that had to be fixed in that final crunch period. And those 3 weeks were necessary, as well as the fact that they made more of the end game playable. That it was evidently that final act was far more cutscene than it was actually playable, and they retooled it a bit in order to put focus on like a minimalistic aspect of you playing it, rather than just watching it unfold. And they credit that with being the reason the game was received so well at the ending.
Right.
Whether or not that's the case, I don't know, but I thought that was interesting.
Look, I'm going to say this. With all, we all saw the in-depth preview pieces about what they're doing with AI in that game. So it gives me no doubt that there is a ton of hiccups they had to get to where they are. So if they need more time to polish it up, by all means, take the time you need, honestly. I don't know. I'd rather developers take 5 years on a game and release it and it be perfect out the box than get the game in 3 years and have to wait on 2 months of patches.
Well, that's just the thing, too. Like, I mean, gamers get upset by delays, and we don't want to hear about, release dates and then get a delay. But what usually puts that to bed is if the game is on point from day one. Like, it doesn't need any major patches. The game delivered on what you wanted from it, right? When that is a problem, when a game is delayed. And actually, the more a game is delayed, you typically don't run into that. But when you get a game and it seems off and it's buggy, you what's the first thing you say? This should have stayed in the oven a little bit longer. Like, I think definitely the oddity was, even though it was majorly successful, was Days Gone. I keep hearing people saying it should have stayed in the oven a little bit longer, but I guess eventually they got to a point where they're like, we just got to go. We got to go on this game. But it was an odd move for Sony to do that, because they typically will delay to make sure the game is on point.
Right. I mean, I haven't played it, guys, but tell me, whatever its faults, Concrete Genie isn't buggy. Right. It's not glitch built.
No.
Right? Okay, so I don't know. I don't want to dredge up that conversation, but Days Gone remains weird in that. Like, it remains bizarre to me that it was published in that condition.
Days Gone is weird to me because they were bragging about how well it was running 6 months before it launched. That's what was weird to me, is that they said we could launch this today, but we're polishing it to perfection. And then it released the way it did. And I'm like, what did this game look like 6 months ago?
Right.
And I think Days Gone, there's a little, we're not going to get, no, that'll just take a, no. We're not getting
the point is, we don't have to worry about Naughty Dog's quality. If they're doing this, there's a reason they're doing this. We are, however, allowed to express the fact that it's a little bizarre to have it happen so soon after the preview event.
See,
that's the weird part.
I'm a selfish person, and I actually want to hug Neil Druckmann, because my vacation, I'm out of vacation days because of my surgery and everything else that I went through there a month or two ago. So I'm on vacation. My vacation resets May 1st. So I will actually get to take time off, take a day off when it launches. And it launches on a Friday now. A Friday. I could take a Friday off and play The Last of Us Part 2 on a long weekend.
It's not a Tuesday. Thank God.
Well, let me check this first. Hold on. Let me check the calendar.
That's kind of, if you notice, that's gone away pretty much in a lot of ways. Tuesday, the definitive release date for things.
The only Tuesday release dates that still happen are like those early editions that come out, like the extra expensive editions that come out before the regular edition. I've noticed those still land on Tuesdays. But yes, other than that, it's Fridays. Yeah. It's Fridays all the way. And I'll say this, unexpected blessing is February has Ori and the Will of the Wisp all to itself now.
Oh, baby.
There you go.
That's it.
Yeah, but now I'm sitting there going, man, you know what the best part about this is? And, like, this is the best part about video games. Guys, we're going to get in a 3-month block, we're going to get Cyberpunk, Doom, Final Fantasy VII Remake, The Last of Us Part 2, and the Avengers game. In a 3-month block.
It'll be crazy.
Chew on that.
Right? Right?
Can't wait to see what people fight about that.
Right. Find the negativity in it. Somebody will.
I know they will. And they'll probably tweet it at me because people seem to think I enjoy that. So on our last piece of news, once again, kind of out of left field, but other people predicted this. I was off basis on where I thought this was going. Mike Ybarra announced via Twitter yesterday that he has joined the ranks of Blizzard. He is joining as their vice president.
Yep, vice president and GM.
General manager
of Blizzard.
Baller. That's what it's going to say.
Yeah, man, that's a big step up.
That's what it's going to say on this card. Head baller.
Let's just put it this way: Ybarra went from making Tesla money to making Lambo money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And part of me sat there and went, he's got a long road ahead with the hole that Blizzard's dug themselves. And then the other part of me is like looking at all these leaks for BlizzCon. I'm like, maybe he won't have that rough of a ride.
Here's what I'll say. It's definitely an awkward time. Like, holy crap, it has to be an awkward time to join.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think this is a great time of opportunity for him. If he gets in there, gets down to business, cleans some people's acts up, kicks butts, gets them back to, actually making games every now and again, stuff like that. And Mike has always been a very hardcore PC gamer. I think if he can get them back to their roots in actually listening to what fans want, then yeah, this is a great move for him.
Absolutely.
And here's my thought on it too, and I have nothing to back this up. I'm just completely guessing. When you go into an interview that big, or you go to talk with a company that big, you come with ideas and you come with I'm not going to leave this unless I can get this to happen.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely. I guarantee you part of his interview process was going, well, now that you mention it, guys, where is X game and why is X problem not solved? And can we do something about this over here, please? Like, you bring that stuff to the table.
Right.
Because essentially what he'll be doing at Blizzard is what Matt Booty does at Xbox. Or what Sean Layden did at PlayStation, in terms of managing what everyone's what's going on and reporting to the absolute top.
Right. So I think, I don't think Mike goes into that position without clearly having like a key to the door to say, look, I'm coming in, to make some changes. Yeah.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I would love
because also, I know it's like that's like his dream job. I mean, he loves that company.
Yeah.
So
I do too.
I know part of that is, I'm going to go there because I love that company, but I would think he wants to go there to make it, to bring, like Sam said, bring it back to the glory days.
Mm-hmm. And look, out of all the exec suit types that we have across Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, Mike is definitely one of those people that's most in touch with the gaming audience. He communicates a lot with a lot of people on social media. He plays a ton of games. and he understands the market really well. But what I always had an appreciation for Mike Ybarra for was his absolute fuck you attitude for any form of nonsense. Like, he's the only guy I know that I've seen quote tweet fanboys made them look stupid when he was playing Zelda Breath of the Wild. I remember him quote tweeting Aaron Greenberg and making fun of Aaron Greenberg and then deleting that tweet. The man has no filter, and if there's anything Activision Blizzard needs in their leadership right now, is someone that's like, whoa. Did anyone fucking think about this before we did this?
Yeah, he is that kind of guy that they desperately need and don't have right now.
Because, like, I guarantee you, if anyone under Mike Ybarra's leadership went, but you have a phone, right? They'd be fired the next day. Because you don't say that. There's just some shit you set yourself up for, and that's it. I really hope he turns it around, because Blizzard, up until recently, they were another one. They were like Naughty Dog to me. They released a game, I bought it. Because you know what? Blizzard is one of the few companies that had no problem just canning a game. They could be 3-4 years into development and be like, this isn't up to our standard. Throw it out. Most developers won't do that, or they'll lose their studio doing that. Blizzard did not care. They would can if it wasn't up to their standard, they'd can it. They need to put out more games. Like I said, Sam, as always, will correct me if I'm wrong, but they basically haven't put out a new game since Overwatch. Am I right?
I mean, they do expansions, and obviously, expansions have a lot of content and stuff for World of Warcraft, so they've been keeping that going. Even if World of Warcraft's glory days are over and it's a vestige of the Empire it once was, they still have done a ton of stuff. They did announce, to their credit, the Warcraft 3 remaster/remake. So they're doing that. But in terms of actual new games, Overwatch in 2016.
Yep.
Oh, because Diablo Immortal is a mobile game and it hasn't come out yet. So that's a long time to go without games. Now, again, to be fair, hold on to your moral high ground, because word is they're announcing a couple of really big games at BlizzCon. So
it'd be about damn time.
I'm going to say this, too. I was very vocal about my problems with Blizzard and their involvements in China and how they did wrong in that situation. But I'm not one of these people that was like, I'm going to burn my Overwatch disc and get rid of my WoW subscription. And I really haven't been playing Blizzard games the past year and a half. They haven't really made anything that has made me go, I need to play that right now. So I'm not actively boycotting them or anything else. What they're doing is shitty. And I'm definitely not going to go out of my way to give them my $60 anytime soon. But if they deliver on the content that they promised their fans, then I'll buy it. So simply how the world works. And I really don't think that, even with all this hubbub, I don't think their bottom line is going to hurt at all. Because let me ask you, did the NBA's bottom line hurt at all when they had their whole China blow up? No. It's the same thing. The problem is with our society as a whole is we like to take the moral high ground until it inconveniences us.
And the sign of someone who, actually means what they say and says what they mean is when they do it anyways. Like, I know for a fact, my editor, Jez Gordon, has said, and he is a Blizzard fanboy through and through. He'll tell you that. He has over 10,000 hours in World of Warcraft. He's not playing a Blizzard game until they fix this situation. So, that's someone who actually says what they mean and believes it.
Yeah, and you know what, though? And that's credit to Jez, too, though, is because he doesn't get mad about every single thing. But when he gets mad about something, he sticks to his guns on it. And I respect that about him and other people that are like that. And I'm similar to that, is like, I'm not going to sit there and get mad about every game that has a loot box in it. It's a waste of my damn time. Got more important things to worry about. But the games that I'm passionate about, I will scream into the void about. Like I'll probably do a 30-minute video that no one will watch on Fallout 76. I guarantee you, because I'm upset about that. And that matters to me because that's a series and a franchise that got me into video games. So that makes me feel, as the kids say, some type of way. And that's just how it is. So our final discussion topic, it'll be a shorter one, but it's going to be a good one. I've been playing Baldur's Gate 2, or Baldur's Gate, sorry. And I'm not going to go into about how great the game is or anything like that. But one thing I've really been enjoying about it is how every mission and side mission has a purpose. It introduces you to a character that might mean something down the road. Or if it's just a plain side quest where you just do your quest and you get a great item out of it, there's humor interjected to it. And you meet really unique characters and writing, and you would get into unique situations through it. And you can raise your reputation and everything else. Everything has a purpose in the grand scheme of your character. Modern RPGs, with some exceptions, because I know Sam's going to bring up The Witcher 3 as soon as I criticize any modern RPG, I feel are overly bloated with shit that doesn't matter. Now, I'm posing this to you guys. Do you guys think that RPGs have become too over bloated compared to what they used to be, and that the content doesn't matter as much as it used to, and it's simply filler content?
Depends on the game, I guess.
Yeah.
In my mind, it really can be very situational. There are lots of RPGs out there, lots of games who have side quests, side missions, and side things that you can do as filler, because a lot of it tends to not be super enjoyable or gets you overly attached to the character or what you're actually doing. You're not doing it for what the quest is or what the story is. You're doing it for the end goal, the end objective, what your reward you get out of it, sort of thing. So you don't care about it. You just want to get it overdone as quickly as possible, get reward, move on to the next thing so you can move on and not waste your time. Now, excuse me, there are games like The Witcher 3 and other ones where they design their side quest to be very more interactive and more attached to the story and to you as a player in compared to many other games, because they want you to be invested to what you're doing and what your character, and they want you to experience the world for what it is. And I think a lot of devs falter on these RPG filler side quests because they think they've done a good job in portraying a story or what a character is going through for a side mission or a filler side quest. But in the end, it's not that enjoyable. So it really comes down, for me at least, if the dev can properly portray good, multiple smaller stories through these side quests to make it more enjoyable instead of just being like, okay, here's a bunch of stuff for you to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that too. I mean, I don't play like a ton of RPGs, but the one thing I can't stand is padding. And when you start to get into, a particular RPG or whatever, and you start to feel like it becomes a chore or a job as opposed to something that you're enjoying to do, that's when you kind of say, I'm feeling this is bloating. This is not enjoyable. Like you said, like The Witcher 3, they made sure like their side quests were just as enjoyable, if not more, than the main story at times. For as an example. So yeah, it's the kind of like you said this earlier in the show, Nick. It's like, just kind of like bloat for the sake of bloat. That's out. Like, you don't have to waste people's time like that anymore.
No, definitely not.
It's just, just there was a time when, if you heard, oh, it's going to be like 180 hours, and you're like, woohoo! And now you're like, that doesn't even sound good.
Yeah, it kind of deters you because you don't want to invest all that time going, well,
because there's so many games.
More. Yeah, exactly. You have only so much time.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, it's just
Yeah. I'm gonna let Sam chime in because I know he's gotta have some thoughts on this because I know he plays a bit more RPGs than me, maybe, or at least on par, maybe.
Yeah, so first off, let me ask Nick, what do you mean by padding? Which games would you use as an example?
I would use something like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Origins. I would say when you pad a game out where there's quests upon quests and there's not a lot of variance in the quest types. Like I'm talking where you've got 60 hours of fetch quests and 40 hours of stories missions. Essentially.
I see. Or like from what I hear, like Persona 5.
mhm.
Like
yes,
people say it's a great
where
game.
people are like,
lore.
yeah, the first 40 hours of this game. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of padding. Give meaningful content. There's enough mindless repetition and mindless repetitive content out there, in my opinion. I mean, if people want it, okay, so be it, but I don't know of anyone who actually wants that. People like meaningful things. Say whatever you want about GTA 5 or Red Dead Redemption 2. It's all handcrafted. I know those aren't RPGs, but nonetheless, the point is it's all unique. It's all compelling. Same with The Witcher 3. I think Fire Emblem Three Houses does a pretty good job, although they could definitely have cut some corners. They could definitely have trimmed a little bit of the fat, but it's pretty compact for the most part. It's definitely an issue, and I think it's more of an issue as well as we continue to blur the lines of a genre, because Assassin's Creed Odyssey was the first time the Assassin's Creed series even was an RPG, and I heard from many, many people who played it, why is this even an Assassin's Creed game? Just make it a new IP. This is great. It doesn't need to be Assassin's Creed, though. Like, you've lost the plot.
Definitely could have been, yeah.
And so things like that, just cut down that. I say this now more than ever, my time is more expensive than my money. I can buy a game pretty easily that I want at this point. I very rarely have issues doing that. I only have so much time in the day with a hectic work schedule. I can only fit in so much. It's very difficult. So, I think it's something developers need to be aware of, focusing on making content meaningful. I think some who are like trying to cut down on crunch times with interesting algorithms or doing interesting things. I actually really like the idea in Watch Dogs Legion of playing as any NPC. That's a really cool idea that seems like it could cut down on bloat by just utilizing pre-existing assets. I'd like to see that kind of AI system in other games, in other titles. Be more creative about this kind of stuff. We've seen, how do I put this? And I'm kind of veering off topic, but kind of not, because it gets at your point of repetitive content, Nick. We haven't seen as much evolution in AI as I'd like. We really haven't. Go back and play Halo 2. Or Halo 3, still the pinnacle of enemy combat AI, as far as I'm concerned. They still dodge out of the way more realistically. They still, Halo and Gears of War and Fear had this stuff figured out a long time ago, and we haven't moved past that. Everything else caught up to that, but we haven't moved past that. And I want to see things move past that. I want to see things do interesting ideas. That's why I love immersive sims so much. That's why I love Dishonored. That's why I love Prey, chaining crazy abilities together. Focus on doing that. Don't focus on providing just 100 hours content. Whoa! Focus on giving people interesting tools to work with, and let them come up with what happens next. Give us interesting plot lines. Like do what The Witcher does in terms of giving us an interesting quest, but instead of just one particular way to solve it, or different dialogue paths, say, okay, figure it out. You have all these tools at your disposal. You have all these gameplay mechanics. Go figure it out. See how far you get. That's the kind of interesting thing I want to see. And maybe it's because I'm getting old and grumpy at the gnarly age of 23, but I like more interesting, unique experiences. It doesn't mean I won't commit to a long game. I'll commit to a long game if it's worthwhile, but make it interesting.
Right. I know what you need, Sam.
What?
You need another Dark Souls.
You know what? Elden Ring is coming next year.
I know. I'm so excited because that's it's sort of on topic, but just like those type of games done by those teams, they're an RPG, but they're not. But they tell their stories so well, and they do have side quests. And the side quests are also very enjoyable, but they're also so meaningful. They're not a whole ton, but they're also not filler. They actually help expand the story and the world that you're doing it. So, yeah, like, oh man, those guys know how to do it well as some other people.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna piss off half the audience right off the hop. I think the genre that is most guilty of bloating with unnecessary content is JRPGs.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
JRPGs have no respect for people's time. By comparison.
My God, if I hear the thing that always blows my mind, it pissed me off with Days Gone, pisses me off with RPGs. If the moment you say to me the game doesn't get good till 25 hours in, I'm like, all right, for the amount of time I get to game, that's like a week and a half of my game time. So I'm not going to like this game for almost half a month.
What's the point of playing it?
No. The thing is there's too much filler crap, and if I do something, I want it to have a meaning. I want it to mean something to the world. In my mind, next generation RPGs is like what they talk about in Outer Worlds. I'm interested to see how they tackle it in terms of everything you do affects someone. And it's the same thing they're talking about with Death Stranding. Like, if Kojima is the one that finally breaks it through the wall, where if I kill someone on the other side of the frickin' world map who's related to that person now has a vendetta against me, that's the kind of stuff I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what? In the 90s, RPGs were doing that. I killed a dude in Baldur's Gate. I went to the other side of the world map just to be hunted down by his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a scripted event? Yep. But if I hadn't killed him, that guy becomes your friend, and you can add him to your party. How were we doing this in the 90s, and now all of a sudden we've forgotten this?
I have no clue.
This is my problem, is like, and Sam said, you remember why I remember back in 2012, 2013, what was the big thing they promised us with Next Generation? Realistic AI. Still waiting.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, playing The Division 2, having a lot of fun, trying to figure out why there's one guy left and he's crouch peeking repeatedly in the corner. Like, it's going to help him. Or being able to stealth kill enemies that you look at an enemy in the face, but if you go around behind them, you can stealth kill them because that works.
Right. But you know what? You know what, Nick? We've completely given a pass to demanding and wanting that AI promise delivered on because we got so damn focused on resolution this generation.
Oh, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
You know, instead of frame rates, you know, it's like, oh, you know, it's shinier.
Yeah, well,
so.
you guys have seen my bitch rants about people going, oh, 8K. I'm like, can we hit 60 FPS first?
Wouldn't that be nice? Let's just get 4K 60 first, and then we'll move on from there.
Yeah, like, or give me 4K 60 FPS with some of the most immersive worlds.
Yes.
That's all I care about.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, that's all I care about. Just if it's 4K, that's beautiful. 4K is beautiful for the next decade, in my opinion. It's fine.
Absolutely.
Like even like back in 360, there's games on the 360 and PS3. I remember going, "Wow, this is groundbreaking." We're always gonna have those moments. You don't always have to push the graphical envelope. I think a game that tries to do something different that isn't necessarily a graphical showcase is just as impressive. And that's why I'm so interested in Death Stranding, is because I'm not saying the game's not graphically impressive. Looks a little janky. We'll see when it comes out. But why I'm so interested in that game is Kojima's actually trying to push the games forward. I'm not saying this game's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be game of the year. I'm just saying he's trying to do something different. And like, yeah, the game's the definition of, oh, that's a weird flex, but okay. But that's how he makes games. And I'm just really interested in how he pushes not only the genre but the hobby as a whole forward. And the same thing is I'm incredibly interested in what Ken Levine's doing next.
Yeah,
Because
Ken
he-
Levine. I'm sorry, I'm not going to take over what you say. Go ahead, Nick.
like Bioshock Infinite and was more immersive and had a better storytelling than most games in 2013. And regardless of what your opinion on the story and its multifaceted issues it covered are, it was one of the most, like, I can remember on 360 walking into Columbia for the first time and being like, whoa, this is wow. Like, that game was next level. And like, I'm not going to say I haven't had that experience this generation, but I haven't.
No, hell, the first time you went down in the Rapture was like mind blowing.
Yeah,
no
that's
gods, no kings, only men.
the closest thing I've had to that was Prey at the start. I'm trying to remember the exact moment, but when you first walk into the space station, you're like, whoa.
The first time in Prey that you see when you go outside the space station, mild spoilers for a 2017 game, and you see the top to the bottom, and you realize you can walk all the way from the bottom to the top, that's when it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Is seeing that incredibly detailed, realized, lived-in world.
Mm.
Yeah, it just what it is, and games are going to be what they're going to be. We have a ton of great games coming. There's more games. They're even crazier. And in terms of games, they're getting bloated to oblivion. I'm going to predict this right now, so I have a little video clip of it if it does happen. Final Fantasy VII Remaster is going to be the most game that's going to be the most guilty of bloating of all time. If I'm wrong, I'm happy I'm wrong. But if I'm right, remember that. Nixtradamus. Bringing it back. I can hear a collective eye roll right now. So we're going to do outros and whatnot here, and then we'll do a quick wrap up. So, Sam, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Samuel Tolbert. That's TOLBERT. Happy to talk with you about games, movies, TV shows, tech, etc. Come rail at me about how my Warhammer builds are inefficient, and I'll see you online. And you can find everything I write on Windows Central, Android Central, and iMore.
Right on. And Jared?
Well, I guess now people can just find me on Twitter at RageVirus_X.
And Eric?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, EC Jackson with an X, and same tag on all the consoles except for Switch, where you need a long phone number. But yeah, other than that, yeah.
Right on. And of course, you can find me on Twitter at Undead3XVI. And yeah, I might do a couple of videos. I might have some articles coming. Not 100% sure on that right now. But of course, if you follow me on Twitter, you won't miss anything. And of course, if you love my tragic amount of shit posting, it's only going to get better. I've got some stuff planned for the weekend. So enjoy it.
He has opinions you people wouldn't believe. I've seen horrors.
Man, if I ever got so full of myself, I'd write a book. And it'd be like a 20-page like coffee table type book. And it would literally just be screenshots of all my hot takes. But yeah, and if anything ever bad happens to me, I gave my wife strict instructions to go into my tweet drafts and just hit publish on everything. So if you ever see a stream of tweets and you're like, what the it's because I died.
Oh, man.
Or I'm really drunk, whichever one comes first. Probably the latter.
It'd be like the greatest, worst day all in one. Like Nick burned down Twitter, but he's not here. This can't do. We don't want to think that way, man.
Oh man, it's hard sometimes.
Or how about this? You don't check out. You just decide. You know what? I'm done with this Twitter thing, and then you burn it down. And that's your sign off. Just release the drafts. Like, that guy went out.
Oh man, I just need to go out like the Kaz Harai account.
Oh man, yeah,
Legendary.
That was great.
yeah.
Man. So this is the Gaming Perspective. Thank you guys for tuning in, whether you tune in through audio, YouTube, or other platforms. We will catch you guys next Friday with latest news, information, and our thoughts on just about anything video games. And just as a little thing too, we've been talking about looking for some feedback. Would you guys be interested in a Star Wars themed episode? Because we have been arguing in DMs about Star Wars far too often, and we just need to do an episode where I tell everybody they're wrong. So
bring it.
Leave your feedback in the comments, DM me, whatever the case may be. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you guys next week.